You are welcome. Yes, 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 yes. For truly there is a presence and a power that lives and expresses itself into and as all its creation. This presence, this power is expressed as me. It is expressing as you. It is expressing as each and every individual. And so it is from this place of conscious connection that I, Al Gibson, licensed practitioner, I speak a word. I speak a word blessing this service this morning. Blessing the hands that have prepared for this service. Blessing the hearts that have opened wide to say, yes, I'll be of sacred service. Blessing each and every individual that has taken place preparing for this point. Knowing that it was already perfect in the mind of God before the preparation started. I'm giving thanks for the practitioners, the praying arms of the church, who hold the high watch and know the truth of wholeness regardless of appearance. I'm giving thanks for the board of trustees who handle the business affairs of the church, who are guided and directed by this presence and power. Giving thanks for our staff ministers, Reverend Anthony, Reverend Willow, as they take this time of respite to recognize and rest and renew. I'm giving thanks for our senior minister, Reverend Celeste, who is the direct manifestation of our sacred covenant, who has come today to be the vehicle of message for Spirit to speak in, through, and out, to deliver a powerful message, uniquely and individually, in, through, and as her. I'm giving thanks for each and every individual that has shown up today, knowing that your energy contributes to the whole of this service, and this service would not be complete without you. I'm giving thanks for this and so much more. As I release this word into the absolute perfect law, I let go, and I invite with the simple, and so it is. Let us become more aware of your presence. Let us experience the glory of the goodness. Let us become more aware of your presence. Let us experience the glory of your goodness. Let us become more aware of your presence. Let us experience the glory of your goodness. Let us become more aware of your presence. Let us experience the glory of your presence, your presence, your presence,
Assalamualaikum. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
Thank you, Chris, for that call to prayer. We at East Bay believe that there are many paths to God, and we honor Him. Good morning. I'm Al Gibson, and I'm a licensed practitioner here at East Bay Church of Religious Science, and I'm your pulpit for this morning. I invite you to say with me our sacred covenant. This is the prayer that brought our ministers here, and we know that there is power in prayer, and so we're returning to this prayer. I ask you to stand. And let's say in unison. First, let's just take cleanse your breath. Breathe in. And breathe out. There is only one life. That life is good. That life is God. That life is my life now. In knowing that I am one with this life that is God, I therefore know that I am one with all its blessed expressions. Because I know that my highest purpose is to glorify God, I therefore know that I am a revelation of God as wisdom. I further know that I am the fulfillment of that which has been promised by God. For it is written, wisdom comes with the ability to be still. Let stillness direct your words and actions. Wisdom expresses through love. It is fervent, peaceful, compassionate, and produces a harvest of good deeds. As I stand in agreement with my beloved community, I see myself as an expression of divine love and action. I now intend to experience myself in full cooperation and agreement with my community, knowing this truth about myself. I am inspired to live as love in the expression of wisdom. I am awakening the divine knowingness within me. I am creating and holding a sacred container for healing. I am demonstrating compassion and generous service in our greater community. I am studying, teaching, and exemplifying oneness through the mysticism of various traditions. I am engaging spiritual activism that empowers social upliftment for the common good. As I now accept the highest expression of my life, I know that I am revealed in a way that glorifies God and serves the highest and greatest good of all who are touched by my presence. I am grateful God is gracious. Amen. So it is.
Thank you for that. I thought, well, if it's good enough for me, it's good enough for you. Well, because so many people have been saying the Declaration of Principles and not really understanding what it means, because some haven't been in class. But the Sacred Covenant is something that you visioned about and you called forward. And that is why I am embracing that as something that we continue, so that the thing that you want most is something that you speak forward. That's what we believe, right? All right, it is done unto us as we believe. So welcome to East Bay Church of Religious Science. I am Reverend Celeste Frazier. It is my joy to welcome you here, to see you here. We're all in our places with bright, shiny things. So I also want to recognize anyone who is here for the very first time. We would like to honor you. Please stand so that we may confer a blessing upon you. Yes. Please remain standing. And the congregation raises our hands in your direction. And repeating after me, they say, welcome to East Bay Church of Religious Science.
Welcome to East Bay Church of Religious Science.
We know who you are.
We know who you are.
You are an individualized expression of love, intelligence, and beauty.
You are an individualized expression of love, intelligence, and beauty.
You are a special way that God is happening on this planet.
You are a special way that God is happening on this planet.
We thank God for you.
We thank God for you.
Welcome to the East Bay Church of Religious Science.
Welcome to the East Bay Church of Religious Science.
Please take your seats with honor, knowing that you are loved and appreciated.
We have always got something good happening here at East Bay. And so it is my pleasure to bring up Annie with our community opportunities.
It's such an unusual vantage point to see everyone here. It's always such a pleasure. As Reverend Celeste has as we honored our new visitors, we wanted to let you know also to please come to the tape room, which is next to the hospitality table, after service to get a free CD and DVD copy of today's service. It's another way for us to say welcome to East Bay. Thank you for your presence here. We welcome you to the new Wednesday night Healing Revealing service. Give yourself the lift that you need to get through every week. Reverend Celeste, ministers, and practitioners will be there for you to offer you light in the midst of any seeming darkness. Meditation is at 6:15, service at 6:30. The Latino ministry of East Bay Church takes place today in the sanctuary. Service begins at 12:45 right here. Potluck follows. Reverend Celeste will lead us in our monthly visioning for East Bay Church this Friday, July 20th at 7 p.m. There will be a meeting of the Health and Wellness Ministry from 6:30 to 8 p.m. on Monday, July 23rd. That will be a week from this Monday, in the Fellowship Hall. All persons interested in participating in this ministry are invited to attend. Help raise the spirit of the Bay Area New Thought Evolving and Rising, our banter Wazana event by singing in the Multicultural Banter Choir. The next rehearsal for the August 4th event will be from 10 a.m. to noon on Saturday, July 28th in the sanctuary. On July 29th, 2 weeks from now, our youth will take over and celebrate with us. Any young people who would like to participate in reading, ushering, or singing are invited to rehearsals from 1 to 2 p.m. on Saturday, July 22nd, and from 1 to 2:30 p.m. on Saturday, July 28th. Our town hall is coming up on the 29th. Join the Board of Trustees for the Summer Town Hall and Community Potluck from 12:30 to 2, Sunday, July 29th. come and get the latest updates about East Bay and our plans for the second half of the year. This is a great opportunity to ask questions and share your thoughts with your East Bay community. All of these announcements are also in your bulletin if you didn't catch everything. And now, it's the third Sunday, which means it's time to recognize congregants who serve in one of our many ministries here at East Bay. Harriet Johnson and Sherry Greer, take it away.
Hi, Sherry. Good morning.
We love you. We love you.
I have my reading glasses on, so I can't really see you. Thank you. Good morning. I'm Sherry, and she's Harriet, and we are from the Sacred Service Ministry, and it's the third Sunday, and we would like to honor one of our ministries. And the ministry that we are honoring today is the Between the Lines Bookstore. This is a place that I know all of us has been in there at least one time. And with that, let's just go ahead and do our honorees. So the first person we would like to honor is Bill Pegg. Betty Clack. Betty Clack. Wes Sun. Olivia King. Marjorie Ford. Jackie Zitch. Kendra DeVos. Joyce Brooks. And our newest member in the bookstore, because she is a longtime member at East Bay Church, Divine Glory. And so I just want to give a heartfelt thank you to the bookstore because they do so much for East Bay. And I know I'm an avid book lover. I'm not going to say reader, but I buy books all the time. I have a whole bunch of books. And, but I really appreciate them. I appreciate them because they do a lot. They do a lot. And so I just want to give a thank you. I want them to know that we love them, we appreciate you, and we surely thank God for you. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I have the honor of leading the bookstore ministry now, and I want to, one, encourage everyone to continue to bring your used books. We're going to put them to good use. Not only are we going to resell them, but we are partnering with 3 organizations in Oakland. One that I'm very pleased to work with is the Oakland Unified School District. Every book that we don't sell, we give to them, they sell it, and the money goes back into the school district. There are other opportunities for many of you to serve. We want to open the bookstore Wednesday nights. We're going to expand to during the week. So if you have a couple hours that you're willing to give back to East Bay, we invite you to join us. The beauty of it is we make it so simple to work in the bookstore now. We've moved up to the Square system where all you do is punch in a few things, swipe your card, and go. There's no more waiting in the line, waiting for the machine to catch up with technology. It happens instantly. So we want to invite not only congregants, but people to come in and buy books and make the process easier. And finally, I just want to say, I want to acknowledge Bill. Bill served as the leader for the past year or two. So there's been a lot of visioning around the future of the bookstore here at East Bay, and they're great visions. But to make those visions become reality, we want people involved. And that's not just working in the bookstore, but being a part of this community of giving back There are ideas of having a youth area. We want to support our vendors in the bookstore. So anything that we can do to uplift the vision of the church, communicate the mission of the church and our philosophy. We want everyone to be a part of that. So as the bookstore expands and moves, we'll keep you informed, but definitely this is something that we want everyone to participate in because it's ours. It's ours. It's ours. It's ours. Okay? So look for more information to come. Reverend Celeste got something she's going to plug for us later, but really the bookstore is ours. It's been here since we've been here. So let's keep it moving forward. So thank you very much. Invite on up to talk about community outreach.
Good morning, Easter. So I'm going to read this, so I can read very brief so we can get on with our service. Not beautiful music. You can't hear me? Oh, okay. So I be a little bit louder. So the Community Outreach Program is a ministry here at East Bay Church. We provide food and supplies to those who are in need, and mainly those who are homeless. Our homeless populations, we provide blankets, blessing bags, bags of non-perishable foods, as well as hot plates or hot meals. And we're helping those who are in specific shelters. This ministry relies completely on donations of food, items, and money. If you donate it, we will hand it out. That is your clothes, your shoes, your food, your services, your old toiletries that you got from hotels, or anything that your heart is leading you to provide. So, for example, we work closely with our food pantry. They helped us to buy a very discounted box of tuna, so we were able to feed over 30 families with tuna casseroles that we made. With all of our help here, we can continue to support the growing population of homeless and those who are in need in Emeryville, in Oakland, in Berkeley, and in Albany. We go underneath the freeways, we go to the 10 cities, and we are in there supporting them with all of your gifts. So if you would like to support this effort, you can do so by providing a donation. You can use the kiosk out there in the fellowship hall and just choose community outreach. You could also call me. My number and our wish list is on the board, which is our community outreach board, which is right here in the hallway. Thank you so much.
And so there's an opportunity for each and every one of you to participate with the Sacred Service Ministry. You can do so by signing up in the fellowship hall after service. It's always good to be in service. We always do. And without any further ado, I'd like to introduce our men's choir. Come on
Good morning, you say. Good morning, you say. On a Sunday afternoon. a thing to me. Don't want to love you, have to tell me to lie. That kind of love I can show you without. I can show you without. Just believe. Just believe. Just believe. Well, I've been up and down that road before. Knowing that
believe. It's true. For those of you who read the Bible and consider yourselves to be Bible enthusiasts or Bible knowledgeable, remember those people that were in slavery in Egypt? Those people were just a few miles away from the promised land. Do you know why it took them so long to get to the promised land? 40 years? They didn't believe. Their minds were enslaved with a lack of belief. And so many times we don't realize that we're not believing. I mean, we can say all the time, I believe in God, I believe in God. But really what shows it is how your life is looking. Really what shows it is that if you have some kind of a slavery thing going on, if you have some kind of an identification with slavery, and that's not just from ancient times or from even 200 years ago times, but today times, if you are identifying that you are being dismissed, disused, dishonored, disrespected, if your mindset is totally around some idea that you are less than or you have less than, then you are still functioning in the Israelite kind of consciousness that does not believe. Because somehow the children of Adama, that's earth, the children of earth thought that they were merely dust. See, because they took certain things literally that they read. Now, if you think you're dust, then pretty much you think you belong under somebody's shoe, I suppose. Or perhaps on somebody's dust rag, I don't know. But I'm asking you, don't you want to dare to claim your divinity? Don't you want to know that you are not just poised to be stoned because you dare to proclaim your divinity? I understand that because it happened to Jesus, you're like, well, I don't really want everybody to think that I'm God, because if they think that I'm God, then they'll think I'm blasphemous, and if they think that I'm blasphemous, then they won't like me. So perhaps if we spent less time trying to figure out whether or not somebody likes us, accepts us, wants us, invites us, or even respects us, that we might start the conversation with, how do I feel about me? All right. See, Jesus the Christ knew that his true power came from heaven. And he became greater with the pressure. He became greater with the challenges. He became greater with even the betrayal. He came to know that even though these trials and tribulations were occurring in his experience, that they were only to purify him so that he could remember the essence of who he is as a son of God. As are we all sons and daughters of God. And so what I want you to know is that when Jesus was speaking of the kingdom, it wasn't about sovereignty over a particular land. It wasn't about sovereignty over matter at all. But it was about sovereignty over his thinking. So when he said, "Get thee behind me, Satan," Satan is Aramaic for crazy thinking. How many of y'all need to say, "Get thee behind crazy thinking"? With his identification of the inner kingdom, he was able to withstand stones. With his identification of his divinity, he was able to know that he was unbroken. Now see, you know, they didn't have quarries and them kind of things back in those days. They were full on solid rocks. Okay? They weren't crushed down, they weren't ground or anything like that. They were heavy and they were hard. So that when life knocks you upside your head, in your chest, on your leg, in your arm, however it may come to you, at you, are you able to withstand the pain because something greater is within you that is awakening by every challenge? Or are you diminished by every pebble that crosses your path? See, the Course in Miracles says, I choose the joy of God instead of pain. And it's really understanding that pain is about a perspective that is not rooted in love. When pain is being experienced in any particular form, is proof of self-deception. Breathe. No, let me break it down, because sometimes, you know, the course is something that you need to understand, and I do teach it, and so we'll talk about more of that later. But the thing is, fear means that you don't believe. So that's why fear and love can't take place in the same space. So fear means that you don't believe God. You don't believe God is able. So when I get fear, I'm like, oh, is that what you're thinking? Because when I get fear, that means that there's a part of me that is misguided. There's an aspect that's running rampant in my mind that needs to be tamed. There's something that's going on that I have let run rampant in my mind too long, and then it needs to be dismissed. It needs to be dissolved back into the nothingness from whence it came. So understand that anything that is proclaiming pain must be false. And that includes in your body temple, and I'm going to talk about what the science of mind says about that as well. Because understand that you, as the holy child of God yourself, can release yourself from this bondage of thinking that you are not enough. You can release yourself from this bondage of thinking that whatever you're giving to the world is something that's not enough. Whatever it is that makes you think of all of these punitive things that might happen to you or that you should do to somebody else, whatever you're doing that you think that you are over this physical world is simply not the truth. Because what is happening is your identity needs to be acknowledged. And when you don't, what you see is what you think. Say to your neighbor, what you see is what you think. Yeah. You don't see people as they are, you see people as you are. I'm going to say that again for some of y'all that were still caught up. You don't see people as they are, you see people as you are. Now let me get you to understand that whatever this game is that we play when we are pretending that we are not a child of God is what happens when we are feeling like we don't have enough, that we don't get enough, that we don't get offered enough, that we don't get recognized enough. Let me tell you, Ernest Holmes says in the Science of Mind textbook on page 99, for those who may want to look it up, the simplest way to think of body is to realize that it is the objective manifestation of a subjective mind and consciousness. And if we are to be well and happy, not only the body, but the mind also must be peaceful and harmonious. If you got a pain in your back, your stomach, your heart, check in with your mind to see if your mind is peaceful and harmonious. And understand that all of this talk about peaceful and harmonious is in direct alignment with your prosperity. Because after all, your well-being is part of your prosperity. And understand that how we see ourselves currently is often through what we have and not who we are. Because see, if you're measuring yourself by how big your house is or how shiny your car is, if you're measuring yourself on somebody else's approval, somebody else's admiration, somebody else's acceptance, then you're looking the wrong way, because you need to look inside to the presence and power who is always cheering you on, always admiring you, always approving you, always loving you, despite your behavior. And see, I was reading from an interesting person online. He said the mind is the fighter, and the mind needs to be defeated, because whom you are fighting with is the weapon by which you have to fight. A great contradiction rises in the fact that against which you have to struggle is itself your weapon, the fighter as well as the enemy. So there is this battle that is going on that is your mind, and it is the battle. And so as long as you are continuing to think that it is something outside that you need to fight, then you're not going to win the battle that is happening in your mind. And I want you to know that a lot of times other people get affected by the battle that is going on in your mind. And we would appreciate it if you would just please tend to what you need to look at in your own mind. The science of mind says, you know, it's easy to believe that God is perfect, but we must also believe that the spiritual man is perfect. And since it is difficult to believe that the objective mind is perfect, we must confine our statements to a realization of the spiritual perfection of man. So it's easy to think of God being somewhere far away as perfect. It's easy to think that, you know, if I'm spiritual, that spiritual aspect of me is perfect. And it's easy to think that, you know what, everybody's perfect, and to mouth that as we have done with the Declaration of Principles. We've been mouthing a lot of that without really understanding what it means. But understand that when you have a realization of who you are, an embodiment of love itself, when you are aware of who you are an embodiment of, then the healing automatically takes place. Yesterday, we were here at a program called Listening from Love, and that was discussing a number of things around race, a number of challenges that we've been trying to work our minds around, people having their kids taken away from them, throwing them into cages, and I'm not going to even say like animals, because animals don't belong in cages either, but throwing them aside and locking them up and denying them not only of the quality of life that they're used to, but the love of life that has been nourishing them and nurturing them for as long as they know. And it's also a conversation about, you know, things like barbecuing while black, or using your cell phone in your grandma's backyard. And what is this happening inside of me internally that I am not able to be with this because I haven't reconciled that these people people are wounded and do not know that they are wounded, and the thing that triggers me is my own wounds. And to understand that we cannot even begin to listen from love until we have directed the love into ourselves, until we have accepted the love that is within us. The Science of Mind says treatment is the act, the art, and the science of inducing thought within the mentality of the one treating, which thought shall perceive that the body of the patient is a divine, spiritual, and perfect idea. You know, practitioner, heal yourself. And I'm not talking about the licensed practitioners. I'm talking about all people who seem to be practicing this idea that is called the science of mind. Because how can you reveal love if you haven't revealed it to yourself? How can you stand and see love within another being if you can't see it within yourself? How can you know the wholeness of someone if you don't know the wholeness within yourself? If you do not see yourself as whole, it's impossible for you to sit across from someone else and see their wholeness. This is why we go through Prac 1 year of what I call a full life enema. And I will be teaching Prac 1 this fall. And though I have no intentions on giving anyone a physical enema, get that thought out of your mind. But it's letting go of your stuff. It's letting go of your mental baggage, your emotional baggage, all of your history, your ancestry's history, who owned a slave, who was a slave, who abused who, and who didn't know, and who was drinking, and who was hurt when somebody else was drinking, and all of that stuff that we carry around like it's Santa Claus's sack, and there's something good inside that we can't wait to deliver to somebody else, even though we're delivering it unconsciously. It's not a gift. So when you get to complaining about this and that, start to hear yourself. Start to hear yourself when you're talking. Here's what Edwin Gaines says in the 4 Spiritual Laws of Prosperity, which is our book of the month. She said, a wonderful spiritual teacher of mine named Charles once taught me a beautiful lesson. I had been in Unity about 3 months, and by that time I thought I knew everything. Nobody here. One Sunday after church, I went up to Charles and said, this church business is God's business, and it really needs to be done first class. I don't know who was responsible for vacuuming the sanctuary today, but it was a mess. And I don't know who made the coffee, but it was so strong you could have floated a horseshoe in it. And the soloist was completely off key. We can't even ever have her again. And there were at least 6 typographical errors in the bulletin. And I went on, she says. This great high holy teacher patiently listened to my long litany of complaints. Then he said, Edwin, dear, for you today, the highest metaphysical law in the universe is don't. It rhymes with itch and starts with a B. That was to be the starting point for her to be able to start to begin to be on a journey of unfoldment. And it was a great lesson to her. And out of that, she created a 21-day program of not complaining. I invite you into that 21 days of not complaining. 21 days of not complaining. Only if you want to be prosperous. 21 days of not complaining. And so no matter what happens, no matter what disaster falls, You know, we got different things coming up in 21 days, Banter's coming up within 21 days, a few other things, some town halls coming up within 21 days. Everything that occurs, you mark each day. And it says, I made the commitment that for 21 days I would not gossip, I would not criticize, I would not complain, not to others or even to myself if I could help it. I would not utter any negative language at all for 21 days. If you're up for being whole and prosperous, I invite you into that. But the other thing that she offers in her book, and I think this is so crucial for us right now, she offers a 2-week exercise of self-care and integrity. And in this commitment, it's about taking care of your well-being. Oh, we're going to take care of you at church. We're having a wonderful day called Well-Being Now, Release, Relief, and Relax on August 25th. Kawaza will tell you more about that. We have a wonderful person coming in, Asara Tasai, who is going to take us through a day of healing. But why don't you even start it before August 25th so that you have these 2 weeks of self-care and integrity. And in this 14 days, she gives you strive for order, take time for solitude, create beauty. There's different things that she gives you every day so that you can have a peaceful and harmonious mind. And so I invite you to really see yourself as that which is truly the presence of God. And to have the thought that you are a child of God, that's how you free the world. You know, the reason that Gandhi said, be the change that you want to see in the world is because we are the world. Don't you remember that song? There's nobody else that we need to look for to do it. It's me. It's me, oh Lord. And standing in the need of prayer, indeed. And it's not necessary for somebody else to pray for us if we're not praying for ourselves. You know, one of my students in self-mastery was asking, well, you know, do I have to believe in order to get the prayer realized? And I just, you know, I gave the whole class, who's in my self-mastery class? Yeah, I gave the whole class a copy of what the Science of Mind said. It's like if you could clear the debris out of your mental operations, then you will be more poised to receive your good. So, I'm just saying that, you know, however you've been perceiving yourselves, take yourself off the hook. You know, the Course in Miracles today, the lesson is, it can be but myself I crucify. Don't do that, love you. You're beautiful. You're talented, you're creative, you're intelligent, you're giving, you're loving. I'm knowing this about you the more I get to know each one of you. You're passionate, you care. You know, you want to be here for the world's best. And you want to contribute to the world's best. You know, there's wonderful things that Ona talked about that we're doing. I wanted y'all to hear. I want y'all to hear the wonderful things that we're doing. Because some of it's been a secret to you for too long to know that your money has been going to help people beyond these walls. It's important for you to know that. But here's the deal. Faith without works is dead. But faith came before the works. It's not about you having a big S on your chest and look what I did. It's where am I giving from? Am I giving from a peaceful and harmonious mind? I am if I am in touch with the love that indwells me. I am if I know that the kingdom within is doing the work. So I invite you, just take a breath now, breathe in. Feel the presence of God. Feel His love beating your heart. It doesn't require you to do a thing. Just let it love you. Mother, Father God, infinite spirit, my joy, my freedom, my life, the love intelligence that is my very guide and my support. I know and accept that every love that is mine. And I give so much from the overflow of what I receive. For I am knowing that I am one with everything that is, everyone that is, whether it be two-legged, four-legged, three-legged, 100-legged. I am one with all of life. And in this understanding, in this knowing, I step forward in a great, grand, and glorious realization that it is the Father within me that does the work. It is this beautiful, bountiful grace that looks past any of my seeming limitations and fortifies me with the allness of what I need in order to step into being the arms, the legs, and the space of God. For I am knowing that God is ever present and that it is through me that I get to participate in the blessing of the world. I get to shine my light in the direction of each one whom I meet. I get to be the peace that I want to see. I get to embody the harmony that I want to realize in all of my relationships. And so I give such great gratitude for the understanding of this truth, knowing that the presence of God is preceding me and fulfilling me and moving me into my greatest yet to be. I give thanks for all that I am, all that I have, and all that I am becoming, for I know it is all God. And in gratitude, I lovingly release this word to the law, and I let it be. And so it is.
So it is.
Amen.
Amen.
Namaste. Our prayer box has been here for you to put things in and to continue to do so during the week. It will be in the back of the sanctuary. Know that we care, that every word placed there is held sacred. Our men's chorus is back. Please give them some love.
We want to give some thanks that Alan Taylor, actually visiting from D.C., is in it for a month. We're very honored. And because of that, we've been asked to do this song for some time ago. We wanted to do it again. Thank you, God, for everything. 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 Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Gratitude is an activating principle. So we want to give from a space of gratitude. We want to give from a space of thank you. We want to give from a space of knowing that all that we have, we've been gifted from the grace of God. So as we move forward in giving thanks, we know that we can't be God-given. So I bless this time of giving from ourselves, knowing that we are simply the instrument that is giving, that it's all God's, including us. And so when we give in this practice that we call offertory, we are participating in our own circulation. We're receiving as we give. And in gratitude for this truth, I release my word and I let it be. And so it is.
Oh,
155, type in the word East Bay. For those of you who are going to the kiosk, we acknowledge your gifts. We acknowledge any pledge that you want to give. For our goal is only a third of the way there. We so appreciate the intention that you have thus far provided is $150,000. But yes, go ahead, clap for that. That's worth clapping. But our needs are greater than $150,000. So we're still looking for that $450,000 commitment. We know that it's possible because there is no end to God's giving. Let's bless these tithes and offerings now, knowing and accepting that, it is the presence of love that is revealing itself as the cash, as the checks, as the credit cards. It's the allness of the givingness of God that we are participating in as divine instruments of the one love. And in this, we are so knowing that there is so much of a fullness that we receive that we continue to want to give of ourselves in service. Not just the practitioners doing service, but all of us in service to this divine idea that is East Bay, that is here as a beneficial presence on this planet on purpose for more love. So I give thanks for it all. I know it is complete in the mind of God. So I simply let it be. And so it is. Amen. Thank you, ushers. Yes. Please leave the sacred covenants in your seats, and we will collect them after service so that we may reuse them. You don't need to take them home. We'll provide them online for you to be able to see if you want to study up. Hello, children!
Good morning, I'm Stacy. This is Maria and Tucson.
Speak into the mic, please.
Oh, okay, sorry. That's your turn. I'm Stacy, this is Maria and Tucson, and we are the youth facilitators for today. Today we are in the topic of the consciousness that heals, and Amanda will read the spiritual quote or the affirmation. The affirmation.
Today I stand in my truth, a child of God, full of light, love, power, and potential. Hannah generates stories of hope. The law can do for us only what it does to it.
During the session, we practiced our songs for Youth Sunday, so we won't be talking about what we were learning today, but of course there was a bit of a lesson, and it was our first opportunity for Tucson to be with us, so I'm going to have him talk a little bit about himself so that we know who is with our youth.
Hey everybody, happy Sunday. It's my first time volunteering in the back with the children. There are only males back there, so it's just good to be a presence back there with the youth. And yeah, I'm a high school teacher at Dewey Academy, so I want to kind of bring my skills and support and serve in this way. I'm stepping out on faith doing this. And, it feels good to be back there the whole service. It's one of my first times doing that. I used to bring my son Denari back there when he was like 2 or 3. Now he's 13. So I've been a member here for about 10 or 11 years. But I want to serve more, and this is one of the ways I'm serving. So support our youth. They're beautiful, powerful, and vibrant. And let's keep this work going.
We love you. We see you. We see you. We know who you are. We know
some Toussaint and I think some other folks that are in the audience are going to be coming forward to anchor our teen church that's coming back in September. So it's time for us to leave now. Let's stand for the benediction. Mother, Father God, infinite spirits, eternal love. Oh, I know that I'm one with the one. And as I know this is true for me, I know this is true for everyone here present and everyone under the sound of my voice who are online. It's already been made manifest as this was true in our youth church because they were talking about the same things we were. So I know the oneness is powerful, and as I accept all of the peace, all of the harmony that God has for me, oh, love just moves throughout my beingness, not simply my body, but my mind, my heart, and every ethereal aspect that is invisible that makes up the me that I am, my essence. So as we leave this place, we leave in peace. We leave in harmony, regardless of what the parking lot looks like. We leave with peace as peace, knowing that we are the peace that we want to see, and there's only one of us here. I release this word over to the law, the mind of God acting upon itself now, and I let it be. And so it is.